Welcome back to my channel. Today we are breaking down essential anesthesia terminology every coder needs to master. These terms show up in real cases, real documentation, and directly impact code selection and reimbursement. If you want to strengthen your anesthesia coding accuracy, stay with me till the end. Let's start. First, let us learn what are intraperitoneal and extraperitoneal organs. Intraperitoneal organs are inside the peritoneal cavity and are covered by visceral peritoneum. So if you want to know what is peritoneal cavity is a potential space inside the abdomen that is lined by thin membrane called peritoneum. So intraperitoneal organs are within the peritoneal cavity and they have greater mobility. Now let us see what organs are present in the upper abdomen and lower abdomen. The intraperitoneal organs which are present in the upper abdomen are stomach, liver, gallbladder, spleen, jejunum, ascending colon and transverse colon. The intraperitoneal organs which are present in the lower abdomen are appendix, cecum, ileum and sigmoid colon. Now let us learn about extraperitoneal organs. It is also known as retroperitoneal organs. So these organs are outside or behind the peritoneal cavity. Okay? And they are partially covered by peritoneum, usually on one surface. They tend to be more fixed in position. So these organs are not freely mobile, where intraperitoneal organs were freely mobile, but extraperitoneal organs are fixed in position. The extraperitoneal organs present in upper abdomen are kidneys, adrenal glands, lower esophagus, aorta and inferior vena cava. The extraperitoneal organs which are present in lower abdomen are ureters and urinary bladder. Next, let us learn an important term in anesthesia coding, that is one lung ventilation. So, one lung ventilation is a technique which is used to collapse one lung while selectively ventilating the other. It is typically managed during thoracic surgery for better surgical exposure. So, why they do this OLV? They do OLV because it provides immobile surgical field, allowing for better access to the thoracic cavity by collapsing the non-dependent lung. So the primary CPT code, that is anesthesia code for one lung ventilation, is 00541. It is for anesthesia for thoracotomy procedures involving lungs, pleura, diaphragm and mediastinum utilizing one lung ventilation. Next, let us learn about pump oxygenator. So you have to know what is a pump oxygenator. Pump oxygenator is a core functional unit of the heart-lung machine. So heart-lung machine is cardiopulmonary bypass machine, right? So this pump oxygenator is the core functional unit of the heart-lung machine. So it does two essential jobs. One is pump, it replaces the heart's pumping action, and second is oxygenator, it replaces the lungs gas exchange. So this is the job of pump oxygenator. Next, let us learn about arthroscopy, that is diagnostic and surgical arthroscopy. Understanding the difference between diagnostic and surgical arthroscopy is essential in anesthesia coding because the type of arthroscopy directly determines the correct CPT code and the level of complexity assigned. So arthroscopy can be diagnostic or surgical, and the CPT code you choose depends entirely on what was actually done, okay? Not what was actually planned. So you have to code according to what was actually performed. First, let us see diagnostic arthroscopy. So diagnostic arthroscopy means the surgeon inserts a scope into the joint, looks around, evaluates structures. He does not perform any surgical repair or removal. So this is diagnostic arthroscopy. When to code it? Use a diagnostic arthroscopy code only if no surgical procedure is performed. So diagnostic arthroscopy is performed only to visualize and evaluate. It is not for surgical procedure. Example, the surgeon scopes the knee, inspects the meniscus, cartilage, ACL, etc. No repair, no debridement, no meniscectomy. Next is surgical arthroscopy. So surgical arthroscopy means the surgeon performs therapeutic or corrective procedure. He uses the scope to repair, remove, reconstruct or debride tissue. So if any surgical procedure is performed, we have to assign surgical arthroscopy code, not the diagnostic one. For example, if meniscectomy is performed during knee arthroscopy, we'll code arthroscopic meniscectomy, not diagnostic arthroscopy. Because Here the surgical procedure is performed. You are not going to code diagnostic code. You have to code for surgical procedure. Even if the surgeon started with the diagnostic look, once they do surgery, the diagnostic portion is bundled into the surgical code. So you need not code diagnostic arthroscopy code separately. So joints where arthroscopy is common. Temporomandibular joint, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hip, knee, ankle. So each of these joints has diagnostic arthroscopy codes and surgical arthroscopy codes, and the same rule applies to all of them. You can make a note of this guideline in your CPT manual. If a surgical arthroscopy procedure is performed, you never code the diagnostic arthroscopy because it is included. This is one of the most testable concepts in CPT coding. You may also get a question from this in the coding guidelines section. Okay. This is very important while coding operative reports also, because diagnostic arthroscopy codes reimburse less and surgical arthroscopy codes reflect the actual work done. So coding incorrectly can lead to denials or underpayment. So you have to be aware of this. If this video helped clarify anesthesia terminology, make sure you watch the next video in this series where we'll be solving few questions based on anesthesia guidelines. Subscribe to my channel so you never miss new coding breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.